Check 1 2 and the microphone. Check 1 2 1 2. This is not just a test. We're gonna draw some things and hopefully they'll be the best. Listening to some pretzel tunes. I adjust this nonsense. Oh, weird little rubber thing on my pen. Why? What are you doing? No. Oh, let's not risk it. Let's just leave everything how it is. Not getting nuts. It's already been a very long day. Where's my settings? That's what I say. My glasses are so dirty right now, I can't see anything but a cloud of dirt and smudges. And they won't even budges off my glasses. Come on now. I need to see. I need to see. Oh, I can draw. Delightfully. Oh, snaps. Alright, that's fine. Pause this. Replay. Meow, 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 meow. Yeah. Let's start with the Hamiltoons' rating of the party of one. It's a party with Hamiltoons and it's just begun. Now play the intro. Play the intro for Hamiltoons. Ripley. Meow, 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 meow. Yeah. The guy from the comic convention. Just play the intro. We got to start the thing. Lightning. Did I remember to change this to a cross dissolve? I did not. Maybe I'll just do that now. Maybe I'll just do that right now. Connections. Yeah, it should be here. Oh, I see what's going on. All right, so if we edit this, go from intro to, I'm gonna fade to all scenes. Yeah, that should have worked. Why didn't that just work? I have two intros? No. That should have just cross dissolved. I'm gonna hit done. I'm gonna hit intro again. Ripley, do it right this time. Intro, and then just did a cut. Anyway, I'll mess around with that stuff again, because I changed a bunch of things, and everything's semi-different. Milo is slightly jammed up in the corner there where he belongs, but now there's a little bit of room for the text messages of Mr. Hamiltoons, the return of the Space Goons, and of course, Pat Pro 101. Oh my god, the Pro is gone, and now the professionalism. Speaking of professionalism, that's a word I can say. The professionalism. I can't say the professionalism of Pat has risen to pro. I'm not good at this. I got worse. I did stream for Streamlabs on Friday, and it was, as always, a super fun time. A bunch of people, like 100 people, just randomly saying things. Only a handful of horrible people being jerks, but I ignored them because there were some awesome people that deserved to get some random fun. And I did. I drew them some random fun. I feel like I should still have a drawing screen on this screen, but I don't know. It's already so many things. But we got the drawing scene over here. It's just like, hey, this is what we're drawing. But Milo's still hanging out, and then if I'm just too busy drawing, we don't have to worry about what my face is doing. We can just watch that adorable little guy. And then sometimes I can chime in, and I can be like, hey, look at that little laughing hard picture of me just floating around. Is it gonna go into my cup? Should I catch it in my cup? Oh, it's getting so close. What if I nudge it? Oh, it's just gonna go by. I'm just gonna let it go by, and everything's fine. Nobody making any sudden moves. Oh, it faded away. That was a close one, you guys. That was a wicked close one. And then he can shut up. And then he can shut up. And Hamiltoots has some animated emotes. I can't talk today. Why? Why? Ah. Oh, I've got so many stories and things that I've written down over the past several months that aren't about the horrors of the world. Still semi-adjacent, but for the most part, just interesting interactions with the maniacs of the world. But then not just today, but yesterday. Not just yesterday, but today. Maniacs came to me. They came to me, and I didn't want them here. But the windows are better. They replaced the windows in my building, and it's not my place to say, hey, you guys, you can't talk like that here. Get out. I hate you. Also, did you guys steal my screwdriver? And spoiler alert, yes, they did. Oh man. So yeah. Last Tuesday, I believe, it was when I did this. I did a little test stream with some of the new setup stuff. I still have a bunch of other things to do that I thought I was going to get done, but instead I put way too much time into making a new little Skeletor animation of Skeletor's house, which is I'm gonna try to make a weekly thing. Every week I'm gonna try to at least do something, either very simple or semi-epic, and cram it into 30 seconds to a minute, and that's the fun. So I did that. I started to do some other updating, but the guys called and they were like, "Hey, we were coming to put your windows in first thing Monday morning." Like, awesome, let's get this done. You seem to do the whole rest of the building in like a few days, so why wouldn't it take 2 whole days of hanging out at my place? I don't know. So anyway, oh, and also technically this is the same setup, room wise, but my room is decimated. Like most of my stuff was in a pile in the living room. Most of my stuff is still in a pile, either in the living room or in the storage space. The shelves are empty. I just dragged those back in here. And once again, there's just a nest of wires going every which way possible. Anyway, fun stuff. Friday, did the stream, forgot to adjust the audio delay, so my audio was definitely not fully on point, but I mostly tried to focus on the drawing and telling stories, and everybody had a good time. Everybody had a good time. Somebody said the phrase, "Are you trying to rhyme?" And they were right to say so. It still hurt, but I couldn't come up with anything. Trying as frantically as I can to do as many logos as possible for people who requested them on Twitter, and then Streamlabs was for the ones that I and Clyde randomly selected. Were sent some merch with their stuff on it, and then they could also put that art in their own stores to make their own money with the merch that I drew for them, and that's a thing that brings me joy and pain, sunshine and rain. What else? What else? Oh yes, people in their windows. Just a quick shout out though, I guess. Aside from Hamilton Tunes, there's this lady, Voxney, Voxnee. I think I'm remembering that properly. She shows up to all of the Streamlabs streams that we've done so far. There hasn't been a ton, but I've never picked her because I just literally scroll up and down on the Twitter list of people and just kind of pick one. And if I understand what it is, then I do that one. And if I don't, I go next. I don't know what those words mean. Or slash, I'm not drawing you Pokemans. You draw your own Pokemans. Unless you come up with some Pokemon thing where you're like, I want these two animals jammed together in kind of a Pokemon style, then fine. But you can't be like, I love Raichu, make my logo Raichu. No. Raichu is an evolution of Pikachu with the Pokemon. Or I mean, they do, but they don't care about your Pokemon knowledge because you do not have enough Pokemon knowledge. So get back to whatever it is you were saying, the made real thing. Yeah. So I just ran out of steam. I ran out of time. It was after 5 o'clock, and I'm just like, my day has ended, guys. My day has ended, and I'm tired. I'm thirsty, and I wanna go home, even though I was home already. And Voxy was fully just like, oh, that's okay. Like maybe next time I'll get in there. Like I'm not gonna sit here and beg and just like so many people are just sitting here begging. So many people come in after the stream, hunt me down on either Instagram or Twitter, and are like, hey, you know what would be super easy for you? Yeah, not reading the rest of this text. That would be the easiest thing in the world for me to do. But it would be so easy if you just, I have some ideas of things you could draw. Like, yeah, guess who else has ideas for things for me to draw? This guy. Meow. They're not all cat-based, Ripley. They're not. Some of them are. So yeah, we're working on a new comic book. Still working on the other one. But I had an idea for one that once again is built purely on spite. Having a conversation with my friend Ben, and I was like, hey, you have the same type of spite towards this subject as I do. What do you think of this half idea that I'm probably not going to do? And Ben was like, that's awesome. And I was like, excellent. We haven't worked on a project together technically ever, because we've never completed a project. But, I always had crazy full-time jobs. Ben had jobs, but we would always hang out and just come up with ideas. We'd write it down sometimes. A few times I've done designs. But just like my regular comic of me and Milo that I do now, all of the Curtis and Ben ideas. Hey, Amanda! Also on the Streamlabs stream, I explained my nicknames as well, because for whatever reason, this Voxney person, who was just super encouraging, she's I should ask her some more questions or just go check out her stream, but she's like a vision impaired gamer, like who encourages vision, just like, how is it even a thing? Like she's not fully... she can see enough, I guess, because she also draws and everything. So after the Streamlabs contest was done, and I had a big chunk of free time today, where my apartment was filled with racists saying racist things. So I thought I'm going to take this time to try to ignore these people as best I can and draw something for a nice person and send it away. And then even though the contest was over, Ethan was kind enough to be like, no, that's fine. Still send her as if it was the thing. She's already like technically part of the team. So the team of appreciating Curtis. Oh man. So anyway, within that time, whatever I was talking about, she said something. I'm pretty sure it was her. Yes, it was. Said something about calling me all Gremlin or Gremlin as a nickname, and I said, "All right, everybody, stop. We got to collaborate and listen on this story, because at a certain point at my job, I shared my office with two people. One of them whose last name really doesn't actually resemble the word Camaro at all." But I thought it delightful to call him Mark Camaro all the time. And I did enough that a good chunk of people were like, hey, did you know that his last name is not Camaro? And I said, wow, did you really think his last name was Camaro? I mean, there's paperwork around here. Like, this is... Nobody else... If I call somebody that, it's probably not their name. I'm out of my mind. And because of that... Secret Santa came along, and somebody, don't remember who, got Mark Camaro a car calendar to put above his desk, possibly like a Camaro cover uh, uh, calendar, or like a Camaro on the cover. I because it did have other cars in it. It wasn't just about Camaros, and because it had other cars in it, it became like, hey, well, everybody in this office should have, we all should have a car name, right? And it's just like, well, this usually never works out good for me when people come up with random names. I really should put a drawing screen on this so I can draw as I talk. Let's do that. Ooh, it looks like it's already here. There it is. There's that little guy. Hey, little drawing screen. You're so little though. Let's put you behind Milo. Oops, let's not move everything. Everybody calm down. Everybody, Pat, calm down. I'll get professional in a second. Now, not much there. So, oh, robots. Too many robots. What's going on with the robots today? Can't I press a button to make these? Oh, Pat's deleting them. I thought I had, I learned the other day at my job, that is Streamlabs, how to block and delete things as I go, and I've already forgotten what that is. So anyway, they start flipping through, and Scott gets the name of Laser, because it's like, what? There was a car called the Laser, and there was, so Scott became Laser. And then as they flipped through, they were like, oh, well, obviously, Curtis is Gremlin. You're Gremlin. To a point where I did like it. I grew to like it pretty quickly. I used it for things. Like, I would put Grem, Grem, I would use that as my name on things for a little while. And I completely forgot about that. So I told that story, which of course led into the story that was one day in high school. It was also led into 12 other stories, but one day in high school, there was a contest for a 3-pound chocolate bar, and I was like, I don't want just 3 pounds of chocolate. I want some Rice Crisps in there, or some Turkish Delight in the inside, to which just like, what's wrong with you? And John was all like, oh, Flavor Flav over here, he's got to have the flavor. This is Mr. Flav over here, needs flavor. Hey, it's Mr. Flavor Flav. And he wanted that to be my nickname, so much so that he, I thought I already did that one. I have to look at the script to see what this was about. So anyway, he went from class to class, and in those days, each teacher would have like, a recipe card box filled with all of the names and information of each of the students written on paper. Some of them would have written it in pencil. And he went to those classes, went into the teacher's desk, found my name, erased my name, and wrote the Flav. Or just straight up crossed out my name if it was written in pen and wrote the Flav. He never got in trouble for it. And teachers, every time I realized it was happening, it was when the teacher would get halfway through the list and slowly look up and just be like, the Flav? The Flava? The Flav? Because the Flav, it just doesn't look like that. And the end of that story was basically, it's 20 some years later. Oh, it's more than that because that was high school. Anyway, it's 20 years later, and if I see John, or if John messaged me, he still says, hey Flav, and Amanda still says, hey Flav, and somewhere Kareen still says the Flav when she messages me once a year when the bonhomme comes across her feed because of whatever. Used to do a little bit that involved pretending to be the bonhomme hosting some sort of show where his guest was always Rock Voisine, and that was hilarious. and a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Well, I'm not going to clean this up again. I'm just going to copy and paste it. Come on, guys. This isn't about... Art is no longer about making art. Art is about copying other things that you've already done a few days ago, and then making 1,000 of those. And then... I just... Some days, copy. Paste. There we go. Everything's fun. So, had a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun on Friday doing that stream. Like I said, tell them some stories. Occasionally people would have some art questions. One little guy asked, everybody seems like a little guy to me from the internet. And they all have some awesome names. And he was just like, hey, like, what's your favorite part of your outfit every day or whatever? I'm just like, I don't know what that question means. Like, what do you mean? Like, every day, which part of my outfit is my favorite thing? Because I don't know if I've ever thought of that before. And so I did think about it. And the answer that I decided on was my hoodies or my glasses. If I changed my glasses more, then it might be my glasses. But I usually go with these glasses. And I want to trace that one. Do I care about consistency? In the moment, no, but later I will. So, leave that Milo visible as well. And we'll just go back several. And maybe I'll just hide this. All right. This only looks super confusing. We need a smaller brush. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that covers all of those things. So anyway, frantically tried to get everything put together on Friday because everything was like taken apart, jammed in the closet. Put everything back together to do that stream, and then jammed everything in. Spent the weekend skeletoring, and then the rest of my weekend mostly trying to figure out a way to get everything out of the way so that when the window guys come, they don't wreck any of my stuff. Like the last time people came to do stuff and it was just like, hey, so we broke that picture. That's fine. That's fine. Just get out. I'm going to go look at houses and I'm going to move out of this place eventually because it sucks. So, or at least to be able to go, hey, who's got any recommendations for non-racist Trump-loving plumbers and electricians and carpenters or whatever, if that's a thing that I need, instead of just being stuck with whatever random lunatic the extremely cheap landlord decides is going to come into my home and make me upset. So why not switch to the drawing screen? Yeah, I mean, it's here. Like, let's show people what you're drawing. Nobody needs to see your face while you're talking. That's just ridiculous. True. It's absolutely true. So, all right. I don't want to show any of the text, but, oops. Got to peek at it to know what I'm doing. So I'm told they're going to show up first thing in the morning. And again, I super realize how petty it is to complain about these things. There are people dealing with much worse things in the world, and we're gonna do our best to semi-ignore them so that we can just talk about nonsense. Because I can't fix the world. I can't change the world, but I can encourage people to do nice things and be nice people. But first, let's talk about maniacs. So right away, they don't show up right away, and I'm just like, oh good, oh good. I was gonna use the bathroom, and now I'm just gonna wait until they leave, I guess, and just explode inside. Um, so they show up, whatever it is, an hour and a half later than they say. Who cares? I think they're gonna be quick. I even take a minute to be like, oh, you're just unscrewing these things? Fine, I'll jump in there. I'm going to unscrew all these pieces of wood so they're, so you can just go and you don't have to bother me. I moved my computer to the kitchen so I could at least tune in to the Monday meeting and listen. And I tell or ask Corbin, Raisin Zoo, been a while. I asked Corbin to do the meeting talking because people are cutting holes in my walls, so it's gonna be too loud, and I don't know how troublesome they're gonna be. The answer, of course, turned out to be super troublesome. So the window guy comes in, who is honestly the most professionally skilled. Like he clearly knows what he's doing. And then the other guys are just people that are willing to do everything that that their boss tells them to do, regardless of whether or not they know what they're doing at all, which is they don't. They just don't. And he doesn't pay them enough, and their lives are hell. Some people came to install Windows, raise a new. Oh, I hope you feel better. I hope you don't have the terrible COVID. I hope it goes by quick, like some people have been having, cause it sucks. It just sucks. So the window guy comes in, and he's got a sweater on that he wears all the time. All the time. He came a few weeks earlier to measure stuff, and then they were supposed to come hey, we'll be back next week. Okay, and then 4 weeks later they finally are like, all right, we'll be here next week. Okay, cool, because I've had my stuff packed up for weeks, and I've been trying to do stop motion. I've been trying to draw everything. All of my art supplies, all of my everything is jammed up in bins and bags, stacked up and packed up in a closet. And it's just like, this is not conducive to creativity, and it's depressing. It's depressing. But the clocks finally went back to normal, and in that I not decided, but it's the same as every year. Once the clocks finally go back, suddenly you just feel like, oh, cool, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna animate something. I'm gonna care about trying again, instead of, oh, it's cold and it's dark and everybody's horrible. I'm just gonna never, ever leave or even open my curtains. So, dude walks in wearing the same sweater he's always wearing. I meant to write down what it said, and I can't remember exactly, but I believe what it said was armed citizen? Something like that. Citizens. But yeah, whatever it was something about like, I'm a citizen who carries a gun, had, a black American flag on it, and more text on the back. But on the front, it did say AC/DC. So it was like, is this just a reference to an AC/DC album or tour that I'm not getting? And I'm just like, but they definitely wouldn't have had. And then I realized, no, this is definitely. I mean, at least for the first while, I was like, hopefully this is an actual AC/DC, but it was like armed citizens do something, whatever the DC stood for. I don't know, but it clearly said armed citizens. And that's upsetting. That's upsetting. So, yesterday, just kind of randomly mentioning things, um, about the internet and whatnot, and how it's just like it's not fair. And, oh, if you're on the right side, it's this, but if you're on the wrong side, you're a terrorist or whatever. I'm just like, uh-huh. You're still being kind of vague, so I'm not 100% sure what we're talking about. But I'm at work, so I'm trying not to talk to you guys and let you do your job, because I'm also trying to do my job. And at one point, I said out loud, all right, because one of the guys was like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I was like, oh yeah, like speaking of work, I'm gonna do my work right now. And that work was going to the Monday Zoom meeting. So I'm sitting there, my camera isn't on, my mic isn't on, but there's like 100 people there with stuff to say, and I'm trying to hear it. And they would not, like, they'd leave the room, come back in the room to say something. And it's just like, why? I don't need, this isn't my, this isn't my building. I don't care. This don't impress me much. Ooh, 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 ooh. You're fixing stuff, but you're being annoying a bunch. Just please shut up. So while I'm trying to listen to a meeting, they just don't stop. They just don't stop talking. Whether they're cutting stuff or not, installing things, they just keep talking. Mostly to each other, but they're also like, part of it is for me to hear. Because just like, hey, so the other day, I said this to the boss about this guy, and he laughed. Like, yeah, that's great. That's great. You're, this other guy is your roommate and supposedly your friend, but whenever he's not in the room, you're just saying horrible things that, sadly, all of these horrible things apply to you as well. You are equally, if not slightly more stupid than he is. You guys are deplorable. So, whatever. That day goes by. Like, yeah, they don't stop. I get virtually no work done. No matter where I go, I can't seem to get away from them. And the one guy's job, I realized, is just to clean things. And he seemed pretty proud of that. But he wasn't good at it, because when they did finally leave both days, it was just like, oh, you'll still notice some mess around here. Like, then why was this guy here? What was the point of him? Why? He didn't go. He's not actually cleaning things. But whatever. Every time he did, he took the time to like come and tell me, like, oh hey, we put this, one strip of wood up over here. Like, huh? Carry on. I am clearly doing something. I don't do construction. I don't install windows, or else the landlord would have gotten me to do it, because he's just that cheap. So anyway, it was just annoying, and ugh, it just wouldn't stop. So by the end of the day, I just had a splitting headache. I seem to have gone too far ahead. So yeah, literally just like losing my mind. At the end of yesterday, they were supposed to fill in between. They managed to put all the windows in. Also, it was just freezing yesterday because they took all my windows out and put half of the windows in, and for some reason we're just gonna wait to put the other part in. Cool. I'm freezing to death. So I'm just sitting here in my own place with a coat, and I'm not gonna leave them here alone, because one of the guys just told me a bunch of stories about how the other guys keep stealing his tools, and he's got to go get them back, and how it's not cool that people steal tools. Like, it totally isn't. So most of it's basically there. They just have to fill in the gaps with insulation and caulking, and then come and put some trim back on. To which I thought they were going to do a good job of that. The way the guy went on, like, I'll do this and I'll do that, and it's just like, oh, you just took a bunch of random little pieces of leftover wood and shoved it up there. Who cares? You could have not put that there, and it still would have been just as fine. It's just like, oh, now it looks great. Like, no, now I'm even more so going to spend some time looking for a house. People's quality is garbage. So, and he was the hardworking one. So, at the end of the day, the main thing for yesterday was, oh god, yeah, you guys had so much construction. So, again, at least at the end of that day, it was like still your place. Whereas this one was just like, I'm at the whim of these people whenever, wherever they decide things. That's it. And it's exhausting. Not that everything else isn't. Everything is exhausting, always. So, so the main thing that guy, whenever somebody wasn't in the room, he would, make sure to explain how all of these other people are useless tools. It's just like, all right, like, you're not wrong, and that's sad, but you keep taking these jobs, I guess. Like, I don't know. So, before they could do the insulation, he pulls out the foam gun thing and was like, "No, you see this? I tell them, they got to leave the thing on until they're ready to put a new one on, or else it just gets hard and is clogged up, and there's nothing you can do. It has to be cleaned out, and that takes a while. Blah blah blah. But if you just do what I keep telling them to do, then it will be fine." So he's trying to clean out to dig out the whatever it is, the insulation gun. He takes my screwdriver and tries it with that, because for some reason these guys don't have all the tools that they need. And it just doesn't work. He just couldn't get the thing, so he was like, no big deal. We'll come back tomorrow anyway to do this other stuff, so we'll just do that tomorrow. Like, all right, fine. They leave, and it gets colder and windier outside, and colder and more windy, and colder and more windy. So I slept on the couch last night because it was too windy in my bedroom. Because without that insulation, there was still just big old gaps. Where so much wind can come in and just like, well, I'm not going to sleep in here. The living room has the best seal and the least amount of windows. So I guess I will just sleep on the couch. It's not technically big enough to sleep on, but it's just barely big enough to sleep on. And it's not the worst sleep. It's fine. It's fine. With the right pillows, everything's okay. But still, it's just like, still kind of cold if I get up and walk anywhere else. Like, it's windy. And because I didn't get much work done yesterday, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to get up early, and I'm going to start working on or finishing off what I should have finished off yesterday, and just get that done real quick early, and then get back to work like I should. I come into this room, which is all windows and the most drafty, Miles. And I turn on the space heater, and when I turn on the space heater tells me what temperature the space heater is at, i.e., how warm the room is. And the space heater's like, hey, guess what, dog? It's 10 degrees in here. Okay. That explains why it feels like it's 10 degrees in here. How am I going to get work done early when it's 10 degrees before 8 o'clock in the morning? Like, this is beyond. This is beyond. Unacceptable? It's unacceptable. My catchphrase, not yours. Don't you dare put that in your mouth. We're not talking. No, don't slap me. So, um, so whatever. That day sucked. I basically had a headache all day and all night. Hated everybody and everything, and had no urge to work on, fix, to do anything. I was just everything's garbage. I hate everything. I'm gonna sit here and eat popcorn until I feel sick. And I did. So today, today's the real day where I was like, I can't do a live stream today. I can't. I have 1,000 reasons not to now, but those are also the same 1,000 reasons why I have to. I have to say all of these things before I forget them. I did write a bunch of them in messages to people, just going like, I don't know what's happening right now. This is my life. So anyway, try to get some work done, doing my best, like send, and then, you know, my boss, like literally sending like, handshakes and hugs or whatever, like, and hearts, sorry. Be just like, hey, like, we care, hopefully you have a better day kind of thing, like, me too. So today starts off the bat. I like just get up and I'm like, all right, well, they won't be here till like 9. I've got some time. And then right away, it's just like my phone rings, like, how dare you? How dare you? You always say you're going to text, but then you called me, and now I have to listen? Don't make me listen to things. I need silence. And it's the dude who notoriously does a terrible job at insulating and caulking things. And he says, are you up? And I say, yep. And he's like, I'll be there in a few minutes to get all that done before the boys come to do the rest of the stuff. Like, okay. And he shows up, and, you know, he gets stuff in more places than he should, but not too bad. Oh, that was the other thing of the day before. I moved everything, so there's no reason to touch or get near any of my stuff. And somehow, for some reason, they fully decided, like, any piece of splintery wood shaving-y wood, we'll just put this on this here. Oh, your curtains? Let me just put it on the curtains that you put aside. Your bed? Let me just put it on the bed. Hey, this footstool over here, that's way out of the way, let me put it on this. Not all of this open space. You're not going to use any of the open space. You're going to use every single surface that I made sure to put stuff away so you don't have to do that. So at the end of the day, I'm just like, hey, I cleaned everything up. I'm the cleaning guy. Then I cleaned up after him because everything was still covered in everything. Vacuumed and swept everything. And whatever, that's fine. It's fine. I don't care. Like, whatever gets you out of here faster. But you're worse than me. You just keep telling stories instead of doing the thing that you should be doing. So, I get everything more or less cleaned up, ready for them to go. And then, yeah, today he shows up, he does that stuff, and he's gone. Once it's filled in, it does start to get a little bit warmer, and I'm like, well, the space heater warmed it up, I can get some work done now. Hopefully the other guys will show up late again, so that I they won't come in, immediately open the windows and freeze me out, which they did. So they showed up a few minutes later, started doing their thing. But did they go right to work? No. First thing they did was come right over to me, where I had like just this little space, all of my stuff on my desk still pulled away from the wall, and I've got my drawing tablet. I'm clearly drawing stuff. I've got work stuff on my screen, like just information of what I'm supposed to be doing. And he says something along the lines of like, hey, so what do you think of the Prime Minister, huh? And I was just like, what? Like, oh, why? Like, what happened today? Like, I don't wake up and listen to the news or whatever. Like, I didn't hear anything. And I guess he took that to mean, you know, like, hey, yeah, you hate this crazy Prime Minister too, right? Just like we do? because truck convoys are the way to get things done. Am I right? That's what he actually meant. Because I was still thinking that his sweater was an AC/DC sweater, not a I'm a maniac sweater. Forgot to put the music back on. Have some of these lo-fi chill beats in the background. Let's turn that down. Turn it up. There we go, just slightly, just slightly. So he says something like that. He's like, oh, let me show you this video. Like, no, don't ever. If you're doing any kind of job, like, I've stopped to go, oh, you're talking about animation? Like, let me just show you this animation I just did. Nope, I regret it every time. Every single time. And that was the even more irritating thing Space Goonie was. His rant was about, and this is very Trumpian type of thing, of just like, oh, everything's political, everything's government now, it's not fair, why can't I just do stuff, everything's so political. Like, you're now going to talk about all the political things, like, specifically political things, like, everything is political, because we live in a society where everybody's not the same. And some people just want everybody to be the same, and that's called racism, guy. So he's just going off about how, like, oh, like, if you do this, like, you're just whatever, everything's cool, but if you're like this, like, you're a terrorist. Like, yeah, because you are. One person, one group of people is demonstrating for, hey, could we stop murdering? And that's very not terroristy. And the other people are like, hey, we're stockpiling some gas cans over here, and a bunch of other people are on the internet making specific videos and TikToks about how they're going to start some fires, blow some things up, and threaten some people. And that's the definition of terrorism. That's why that's terrorism. Again, not that the Prime Minister is particularly good at his job, great at his job, but, he seems to be trying to keep some sort of peace. Definitely somebody better should be doing it, but not the people you're suggesting, dog. Because what you're suggesting still includes some elements of genocide. Blah, blah, blah. He eventually mentioned something along the lines of, like, everything was founded on war. That's how all the land was, all this land has become occupied, has become, territories for people. Is through wars. So, I mean, and now there's one going on now, and people are acting like, you can't just do that, like, cause it's not, we shouldn't. All the other ones, all the things, like, people need to stop bombing each other, that just makes good sense. And what I should have said, I mean, I definitely shouldn't have said, but what I should have said was, for example, I don't like you, and in the olden days, how people resolved not liking somebody is to stab them with a screwdriver, but you effing stole my screwdriver yesterday after you used it to try and dig out your broken insulation machine. And I tried so hard to bring myself to go, hey, by the way, speaking of people stealing tools, give me back my screwdriver when they left today. And I just wanted them to go away so bad that I was like, you know what? It's worth a screwdriver. It's worth a screwdriver. It's, one of the 2 screwdrivers in my whole life that I actually spent more than $1 on. Because, $1 screwdrivers are garbage. And I was like, worth it. Well, effing worth losing a screwdriver. Just go away. I don't want you to come back in. I don't want you to try and figure out where the screwdriver is. I just want you to go away. So it's my gift to you for you to go away. I'm not here to fight you. But man, oh man, I really want to fight you. But I'm not a fighty person, so, linguistically, conversationally speaking, they, every time they started to talk, every time I started to talk, they would not let me talk. And that's insane. Wait a second. So, I mean, you live in a world where when, you do want to talk and, you have too many words, you literally make up other characters to also say that words so you can have multiple opinions and say the thing that you want to say. It's, you're having your cake, you're eating it too, and it's a great old time. But these guys, you couldn't get a word in edgewise with these guys, and no, and I couldn't. I just couldn't. It was just like, wow. In some of these cases, it's like, oh, I agree with you on this story. This is a way that people should be. Hopefully trying to get to the point where, like, do you realize how much you're contradicting yourself? And and A, I never got a chance to say that, and B, you know, they're not gonna hear it. Stop talking. Everybody stop talking, please. So whatever. So it starts off with showing a video, and then he drifts into a bunch of that stuff. And then stop. Then it just quickly meanders over to, like, oh, did you see the Oscar thing? I'm like, yeah, I saw that, or whatever. And I'm like, this isn't gonna go well. Whatever he has to say about it. And it's like, I don't even care. I don't have anything to say about it. It's just rich people doing stuff. Hey, there was a rich people party, and a rich person did something, as they tend to do. Everybody was wrong. Everybody was wrong. And it is kind of crazy that, yeah, nobody jumped up and did anything. Like, whatever. His problem with it, though, however, was something along the lines of, and I can't even say anything about it, because if I say something, then I'm being racist or whatever. And just like, please, in my head screaming, just please stop talking. Because I know that whatever you're about to say is going to be racist. Because if you worry a lot about people saying that you're racist, it's probably because you say a lot of racist things and people are calling you on it, and that's why that happens. It's not because the world has shifted in a crazy way where all of a sudden those things were always racist. People are just now feeling okay with saying, stop this. For example, if I was anywhere except for trapped in my own little space with the guy, I would have said no, that's ridiculous. But I'm like, I haven't hired you. It's not because of me that you're here. I don't get to fire you. And I also know that I can't just be like, hey, landlord, there's a racist in here saying horrible things. He's also saying a bunch of pervy things, but also saying, like, no, I'm not going to be a pervert or whatever, but this happened or whatever. And just like, that's the fourth not a pervert story you've told, which means that you're a creepy pervert. So, CTK is here. So somewhere in there, part of my head thinking, you're not allowed to talk about black people because all of your views are racist. He streamed over to trying to explain how, like, oh, like this thing, some old ad of some kind. War dancer for money, lurking at 6 p.m. Yeah, I started, that's the other thing, we're gonna start doing the stream early, starting it at 7, so I can either, just get more drawing done and draw later, or, end earlier and, go to bed earlier. So yeah, he explains, yeah, so it's like his perversions were just like, hey, I accidentally didn't pay for gas because I was creeping on some lady. Hey, this lady didn't answer her door, so I just went in to do my job, and then lo and behold, there she was coming out of the shower in a towel, like, you already told a story about how, like, you're aware of the water pipes and the sounds and whatever, so you definitely went in there hoping to catch that lady in the shower, like, based on your other stories. But whatever, everything he said, I just fully just didn't trust anything anymore. But yeah, he tried to explain that, some old ad, and he's just like, people keep saying this thing is racist, but it's not even racist. And that's when he said the N-word, because he was like, this thing, said, basically, I don't even know how to say it without saying it, but from his perspective, he was trying to explain to me, like, oh, people think this is racist because this poster that says, you know, everybody should have an N-word in their wood pile, I'm gonna say is how it was phrased. And he was like, I mean, come on, he was like, this was after slavery when people were trying to encourage people to hire black people to work jobs. That's what it means. And I sat there, melting inside my head, once again wanting to scream. No. In what were, like... If I wanted to hire more Pats, Pat's a good guy, Pat's a great guy, I like Pat. I'm not going to put out an ad for, hey, I need to hire more, shitheads. Pat shithead McJerkfaces. I'm not going to say that because I'm trying to encourage Pats and the people of hiring Pat. What I think it meant, I thought it was like it could mean one of two things. One of two things. I definitely know it's one and not the other. But it clearly means either, hey, the best version is, no, wrong way. The best I could think of is, okay, if it is about hiring people, it's still clearly written in a way that is, hey, remember how these guys were slaves? Well, now they're cheap labor. Hire them to work in your woodpile. Right? I'm getting louder than I need to be because I'm angry. Let's calm down. So, the other thing the thing it obviously means is put them in your woodpile because certain people think that other people should be used as firewood. That is obviously what it means, and it's clearly a racist thing, and the fact that you brought it up out of nowhere and are just like, yeah. But again, I'm just trying to do my job over here. I don't need to respond to any of this. Then he starts doing that thing that it's just gross that old men do, that people who are super annoying do when they're in a group of people, and I assume they must start getting the sense that, oh, I'm annoying and everybody wishes I would leave and die. Because several times he's just like, hey, I bet this guy can't wait for, these nuts to stop talking or wait for these nuts to get out of here because we're a couple of nuts. Like, you're a couple of sexist, racist, Trump-loving anti-vaxxers. How do I know that? Because he drifted from that thing to and anyway, on Facebook, on social media, on whatever. It's like Elon Musk, he's going to create a new social media where you can say whatever you want. Because on Twitter, that's like this, CBC now, that's basically CNN, because they basically just support the Bidens and whatever. Whereas it's just we don't live in America. Why do you have a black American flag? Ah! So, while he's complaining about social media not letting him say what he wants to say, he just very nonchalant, just if you say anything, you can say whatever you want about, any bad thing you want about Trump, but if you say anything positive, they're all like, whoa, what's wrong with you? And then suddenly you're booted, yeah, because that guy is a rapist and a murderer? That guy is, admittedly, from his own mouth, the worst and he loves it? Like, he loves it. And basically, I don't know, a semi-delightful thing slash, oh good, are you killing me right now? Because I think you're killing me right now. So yeah, he's complaining that I don't get to say whatever I want. I don't get to be a Trump supporter without people hating me. And I don't get to say the N-word or complain about black people without being considered a racist. Like, because that's what those are racist. It's a racist epitaph to hang your hat on. I don't know if you can hang your hat on an epitaph. Sure you can. You can hang your hat on anything. I don't know how to draw cowboy hats. Why did I decide this has to be a cowboy hat? Yeah, let's do that. So, he kind of stops for a minute, and then there's this other guy who I learned was, I'm just a cleaner with like 40 years of cleaning experience. Like, wow, then you're the worst. This guy has the wherewithal, has the communication skills, and the weird energy of a 5-year-old who is excited that it got some new stuff for Christmas. He comes in, and I couldn't understand half of his words. He was very, mumbly old man, hard to make out. So, whatever. They just kept coming in and drifting in, and like, oh, and another thing, like, did you hear about this thing? Like, stop it. Stop updating me on conspiracies that are blatantly not true or just clearly racist. Because he was like, oh, like all the rounding up all those pedophiles or whatever. And it's just like, you're not talking about the pedophiles. Like, he was talking about like Hillary Clinton, even though, like, yeah, Bill Clinton is clearly some sort of pedophile island guy as well. But like Joe Biden is like, like Biden's son there, that laptop, huh? That still has nothing to do with anything. Joe Biden's son does not work in government. Like, yeah, Trump's just put all his kids to work doing stuff because whether or not they could do it. Biden's son is somebody who had a drug problem and eventually got over it, which is something you guys clearly have done or are on the way to doing, and that's why you're doing these jobs for zero money. Anyway, other guy comes in. Yeah, because the real thing is just like, the needles. People go and get a needle in your arm. That's the thing that's killing people is needles. You're not going to see me getting the needle. I'm not going to get that because that's how you go to die. You got the needle's going to get you. And it's just like, I wish you were talking about heroin or something because I could agree with you. There are definitely some needles in your arm that are going to kill you. But you're talking about the fact that, oh, there's two people. There's two people that one, he made fun of this other old lady. Like, oh, so what's her face going there? Like, that lady at the end of the hall? Like, yeah, is it the black one? Like, you could just call her the lady at the end of the hall. There's just the one lady at the end of the hall. You don't need to keep specifying everyone's race every time you have to point out something. He's like, yeah, I saw her going. She had, like, a big winter jacket on and her big hat on and then her mask on and all that stuff. And I'm just like, oh, you don't even have to wear that. Like, the hoax is over or whatever. I'm just like... And I hate that lady. She yells at me all the time. But I hate her because she yells at me all the time. She still, in all of her hatred and madness, wears a mask. She still, I believe, has gotten a vaccination. She has grandchildren and older friends who she doesn't want to die, whereas these people are like, you're old people. You're old people. You should do... So he goes on about that, and I'm literally just like, cool. So you guys are spitting a lot when you talk, and you've already made fun of the mask, so I can't just go throw a mask on without being berated, because everything I did. So today I'm sitting here drawing anime character for somebody, and they're just, first, the other guy who's like, I'm a cleaner, no needles, is just like, I can't even draw a stick man. You pressed the wrong button again, you meant to go to the other screen. There you go. And the first guy is like, hey, he's just drawing Stickman. Oh, you know what he's doing? Oh, he's in here on the computer. He's on the computer in here watching porno or whatever. And just like, stop saying things. Stop saying things. And he was like, yeah, when I was a kid, I remember like I'd do little flip books, little animation flip books in the corner of my like history book, and then the teacher would get it, and I wish I had to save them because I made like this man and a woman, and they were like doing it doggy style, and then I saw the teacher like watching it like, you're a 50-something-year-old man, maybe even 60. You don't know me. Why are you telling me these things? This is not even remotely what I'm doing, like, just because for some reason you think what I'm drawing is super pervy. It's not. It's not at all. It's just just adorable little person who is part cat and part rabbit. I've never drawn that before, and yeah, I've got to Google some anime pictures to see what this is. And exactly, like, it's like I had nowhere to go. And I'm just like, and I'm not leaving them alone in my house. I just didn't trust them at all, so I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep staying here. I took a walk over to Subway real quick, took a walk to the grocery store today, and still, those few minutes I wasn't here, I was just like, oh, like exactly like CDK, like these trash monsters are in my house touching my things, and I kind of still need to keep some sort of mental catalog of what they're doing and touching. Oh, you're gonna check your messages on your phone? You're gonna do some texting to the boss or your girlfriend? Cool. Why are you sitting on my couch? Why are you sitting on my couch? You guys know. You guys know that you're filthy, that you're wearing filthy clothes. Don't, when you're on a job, don't sit on people's furniture. Don't put wood or anything. Don't put any of your stuff on other people's stuff. Especially when I'm one of the very few people that have taken the time to give them all the space in the world. I've destroyed my entire apartment, still haven't put it back together yet. And for what? For you guys. So, yeah, when I went over to the grocery store, threw my mask in my pocket because I didn't want them to see. When I went to Subway, I just grabbed my coat and left and didn't even realize, and got halfway there and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't bring a mask. I've got, my scarf on, I've got my winter coat, it's still pretty cold out. So I'm like, I guess I'm gonna go into a place without my mask on? And even though there was other people in there without masks on, it's like I'm not breaking any kind of mold here. I still felt terrible doing it. Like, just terrible doing it. Again, especially since I just came from a place where two anti-vaxxers were just spit-talking everywhere. And I'm like, excellent. So whatever. I've got headphones in. I'm doing everything I can. I'm terrified to put anything on the screen. I'm trying to talk about them to Clyde at work, to be like, this is what I'm going through right now. And it seemed every time I started to type, whoop, they were just behind me. So I'm like, I can't even talk about them. I can't do anything. Oh, God. And I did think, I thought I had a mask in my pocket, and I didn't bring my backpack. I just up and left. I was like, I can't take this. And I'm like, well, I'm not going back. Past the point of no return, so I just did it. I was like, whatever, who cares anymore? We're all gonna die of COVID, apparently, according to Pat's prime minister. Not specifically the prime minister chosen by Pat. Not prime minister. Premier? What are people called that run provinces? Province captain? So anyway... the most annoying part of today, honestly, because of the racist stuff, it heightened everything else. Because of the anti-vaxxy, because of the everything, it made everything else, here you go with a pile of salt in your eye to go with whatever I'm saying. So the cleaning guy, every time the other guy did something, he'd go in and sweep up after him. And then just kept going, and then he'd come back to me like, yeah, I sweeped up there. Oh, sweeping a lot. Oh, these stairs. Oh my God. It's like, yep. You've already told me the stairs are too much. You've already told me that you've swept. and I don't care. But I don't want to be that person that says, "Hey, guess what? Don't care. Couldn't possibly care. No reason for me to care. Please do whatever it is you have to do. Doesn't involve me, but guess what? I'll tell you the same thing that I told the last people that left this place that were like, hey, we don't necessarily have time to clean this up super good. And I said, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. No matter how good you think you're cleaning this, even if it looks perfectly clean, I'm still going to have to do my cleaning so that I know that my cleaning has been done. And yeah, I feel like I've just been quarantining myself anyway, trying to avoid all of the things and all of the people. But yeah, like everybody is in different situations, and basically, no matter what you're doing, and this is what I talked about on the stream, it doesn't matter what you do in life, job, societally, it doesn't matter. Whatever you do, as long as you're not doing it to specifically hurt people or steal from them, take from them, then you're still doing your best to be a good person. Like, that's it. Like, everybody has their reasons for everything. So, but yeah, like I said, the annoying part was every time he'd sweep, he'd come in and tell me that he swept. Like, all right, yep, that's what you're doing. Hey, and I picked up this thing. Hey, I picked up this wood. And they're just like, oh, we got another piece on the wall. Like, look at this. I'm gonna murder somebody? Like, is that what am I gonna become am I going to jail today? Cause I'm gonna explode? Like, I think I might explode. And I don't know why. But he tells me that hey, oh no, that's what it was. So the third guy shows up. There's a third guy who's useless. Again, the main guy, who's seemingly the most racist, the most everything. He's the competent one who can do things. And then the other two idiots that he basically calls the idiots when they're not around. And then they call each other idiots, except they don't use the word idiot. They keep using the R word. So they're making fun of each other. They're yelling at each other through the walls and whatnot. That's just a great old time for everybody. Why be quiet? Why ever be quiet when you could just yell all the time? You don't realize any of the irony there where, how you're clearly, not only are you getting louder, you can see how loud you're getting by the audio peaking on the little audio dial thing that shows you how loud you're getting. But, I got 10,000 spoons when all I need is a knife. Yes. So, why? Oh, yes, that's what it was. They're just continually, like, wanting to hate on this other guy, who is his roommate. So, roommate guy goes out onto the roof. Regardless of the fact that the roof is now covered with snow. It snowed today, and it's just like, you shouldn't go out there. It's like, oh, if I just go this far, it's fine. Like, I mean, at this point, I'm kind of okay with you falling off the roof. You're definitely frail enough that it will smash you to pieces, and I'm kind of okay with that, and I don't like feeling that way. So please don't hurt yourself, but you deserve it a little. So while he's out there, the other guy comes in, who, like I said, a fully super white-haired old man, just going on like a child, like, I wish I had my slingshot. He's out there, like, from this window, I could totally hit him, because I got a slingshot, like, okay. But, I mean, it's not like he's going to tell me about his slingshot. I don't have details about his slingshot. Obviously, you have details about his slingshot. Obviously! Hey, so I got a slingshot. I got it from this place. I don't remember where. It looks like a moose, so it's got, like, moose antlers. And then blah, 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 really nice and carved. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, I just kept saying, like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I spent the entire day going, yeah. I couldn't understand half the things he was saying because he was just mumbly McGee. And the other half was, uh, um, horrible things, just easily discernibly horrible things. And whatever. He came back again, mentioned something else about his slingshot. Like, okay. And then time would pass, and just out of nowhere, like, oh hey, like did I ever tell you about? I don't know you. No, you've never told me about, and I don't need to. Like, how far do I have to jam my face into this drawing tablet? How drawing-y do I have to draw before you leave me alone to draw? And I should look at my messages that I sent to work so I can read the things that I forgot. But I think I hit most of them. The one of the last ones was he stands right here. He just kept standing right there, like just you don't have any reason to be in this room anymore. Stop standing right there. Don't stand. Don't stand. Don't stand so close to me. Don't stand so close to me. He starts to say it was like after lunchtime. I think I was trying to eat. And they still have to comment on like, oh yeah, like, oh, buying food as a single person is actually more difficult than buying food, you know, for a bunch of people, because then you can just buy a bunch of things and all the food kind of gets eaten. I thought that light was fully charged. So where is? I have to get up. Go find a place to plug this in over here, right? There we go. Okay. He stands there and says, oh, like, I gotta go to the hospital, or I went to the hospital to get my stomach x-rayed. I gotta go get some stomach, I gotta get x-rayed, because, like, my stomach hurts. Whenever I eat something, my stomach hurts. Like, uh-huh. And I'm just looking at him like, excuse me? There we go. He probably would have known some, and it would have backfired. But yeah, he's telling me that his belly hurts. You know, again, this is after telling me 1,000 times, like, oh, I slept here, I did that. And it's just like, every time I eat now, my belly hurts. And then he actually, like, starts to, like, kind of show me his belly, like, you know, pull, like, whatever, his sweater back so I could see his... I'm just, like, looking at him, and my eyes must have went, like... Why? What? And, I was just like, yeah. And once he left the room, I'm just like, well, that's the new strain of virus is like you feel it in your stomach. So maybe, you know, not getting vaccinated wasn't a good idea. You probably have it now, but you're not gonna care. But I was too caught up in the irony of you just went on a slight little rant like an hour ago about, hey, I'm not getting any needles. The needles, people are getting the needles. That's what's killing people. That's how it's spread. Is, you know, going to get that jab or whatever. But you're still just like, so anyway, I gotta get myself to the hospital and get checked out. You just said it's all a scam. You just said it's all a scam. But you're still just like, nope, 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 nope. So anyway, like, do you not understand the hypocrisy here? And, what was I thinking here? No. I was like, alright, that's delightful. But regardless, just like... No matter what your job is, you never go up to a client of any kind, because again, I'm not the boss. I'm not controlling any of this stuff. And just be like, my belly, let me tell you about how my belly hurts. What warrants this? What warrants any of this? They commented on my drawing, they commented on my food, they commented on everything, where it's just like, just stop. Just stop. I have no comments for the stuff you were doing, because I am busy. / none of this is technically any of my business. So, the day passes, and in my head, I'm just like, you guys should be absolutely dumb by now. I don't know what you're doing, but somehow you're taking 1,000 hours to nail a few pieces of scrap wood to my windows anyway. Again, they're not my windows, so I don't care, but, you know, you're just wasting time. Please finish and get out. Please. Please is all I'm screaming. Just stop talking to me, at least. I don't care how long you take, just stop talking. And, why don't I know what I want to draw this? Alright, let's do that. So, one dude's working away. There's technically nothing to clean up in here, unless he wants to grab a vacuum cleaner and actually clean up what's going on. But that's not going to happen. So then, get out. Like, get out. Why are you here? Get out. You're of no use to anybody. So he decides to make himself, I swear to fun. Guess I should have plugged them both in. I don't have another hole to plug that light into. If I do, I'm not sure what this one is plugged into. If I unplug this, will something shut down on the stream? Anyway, one light is fine. It's dramatic. So, oh god. So he goes off to sweep the hallways of the building. He swept the like second and third floor, I guess. How do I know that? Why do I know that? Why would I know that? There's no reason for me to know that. Because after he did it, he came in to tell me, hey, so-and-so, I told him to, like, he should have swept the floors, but he didn't, and so I just did it. Okay, thanks for continually ratting out the other people you work with to tell me stuff. You don't have to tell me any of that stuff. Just do it or don't. I don't care. But realistically, yeah, you guys have been doing construction and stuff in here forever. Those halls should have been swept up, I don't know, 1,000 times over before today. But whatever, that's great. Good job. Good job. But still just continuing like, hey, yeah, laughing and smiling. And, yeah, good for you. Good job, little guy who's way older than me. Way to, I don't know, make yourself feel useful. And realistically, he should have a mopping. If he was really going to clean, all of the floors need to be mopped. And he didn't vacuum up. There's a bunch of like mats downstairs that are just coated in filth. And he just left those. So it's just like, don't brag. Don't brag about the cleaning you did if everything is still filthy. And then, you know what he did? I bet you're gonna tell me what he did. I'm gonna tell you what he did. He swept the basement of the building. Then came back upstairs to say, I swept the basement. Okay, good. Good. I've never been. Not going. Don't care. I don't think I have a key to get into the basement area that you're talking about. This affects me in no way, shape, or form. Please slowly back away and leave me alone now. And he did. He went away. And I did it like literally half the time I wasn't even sure what he was saying, so it was just like, yep, lots of sweeping to do. Yep, place is always filthy. Yep, it's a shithole. So that just kept going for the entire day. Or what felt like the entire day. Like, genuinely, I was like, oh, I don't even know. Like, oh, after the stream, I don't know what else I'm gonna do. I just can't wait to just lay down for a few days. And I was just like, oh wait, it's Tuesday, Lemon. It's Tuesday. Oh wow, this week has only just begun, and I feel destroyed. And again, we're just like, how am I gonna do a stream? I still have to reconnect everything once again for the 15th time this week. And it's just like, it's kind of the only thing I want to do, but oh, they drain. So then they finally pack up all of their stuff. I don't accuse them of stealing my screwdriver on the off chance that maybe it is still here, maybe they didn't take it, but because everything is a mess, it was just laid down somewhere. They left, I didn't find my screwdriver, they definitely stole my screwdriver. Just a screwdriver. Like I said, worth it to not see them again. Go away, take it and go. Old punks. Old man punk kids. Before they go, they stop at the doorway, and I, glance down at the table, the coffee table, which is clearly covered in sawdust, which, hey, why? Why? I moved it away from everything. There is zero reason for there to be sawdust on my coffee table unless you also used that to cut stuff with. And he was like, oh yeah, by the way, like, you're still probably gonna notice some dust here and there. I mean, that guy just told me 1,000 times that he's been cleaning and sweeping, but, once they left, I went through with the vacuum cleaner and the broom, and I picked up so much stuff from all of the places where he'd swept. The sweeping had been done. And I think that's what the basement downstairs is basically a kaleidoscope basement where a bunch of old stuff is stored because of a cheap landlord who won't get rid of garbage, because you never know. You never know when you're going to need a tube full of half a tube of dried up caulking. You never know. Never. I know. Never is the answer. Where's Kabi Lamy to point at things with his hands for me? Just stand around pointing at things, but he couldn't because they're all too racist. So they'd run him out of town. Oh, the world is a vampire. So he pointed like, oh, this place is still gonna be dusty. Yep. And in return for my anguish, once again, like I mentioned last week, that some people were yelling at some old people that they don't need to be yelled at, and I didn't yell at the people, and I felt better about it, because just like revenge doesn't make you feel better. Doing something nice to somebody else or force other people will make you feel much better for days on end rather than going up in front of my fridge, in front of my kitchen. Like, just everything was piled up in a way where I couldn't really use my apartment for 2 days. More if you want to count Sunday. And I will. So, like, I'm going to go to the grocery store, grab something to eat. And I was really in the mood for some donuts. For a donut, at least. Just one chocolate-dipped donut. But people are in my home. And I still need to do nice things. And my dad said that one time, several times, hey, your neighbor next door, you hate him, he's annoying, he's irritating to you, obviously, he's just a cranky old man, like, yep. And his advice was, go to the grocery store, go to the bakery. Is there a bakery in town? Yeah, there's a bakery in town. Go get him an apple pie, or go get an apple pie and bring it over. What? That's the last thing I want to do. And it's just like, that's the best way to deal with people. If you hate somebody, do something nice to them, and they don't know what to do with it. I'm just like, I don't want to encourage him to, talk to me more. But instead of getting myself 1 or 2 donuts, Lilith Nadia, hey! Your name sounds familiar from the Friday stream. Instead of getting myself 2 donuts to myself, I got 6 donuts. 6 big, fat, chocolate-dipped donuts. I put the box on the coffee table and said, I got donuts. I took one out, and then I ate it. And they said things or whatever, and then at the end of the day, I was like, hey, take these donuts with you, because, they've been amongst you, so I'm not going to touch them anymore. I was working on a comic and complaining about my day today. And yeah, so I'm just like, it still made me feel better to just do something nice. Even though it was for people that I wished fell off a roof, I still felt like I did something positive in what felt like an extremely negative, to me, situation. And I still kind of would have rathered eat 6 donuts to myself. Yes, I would have felt very sick now. But again, two good things that I did. One, didn't eat 6 big giant donuts, and 2, just did something nice for people, regardless of whether or not they deserved it. And the twist, the Shyamalanian twist in that is, you're on my camera, it's me. Should I give away the Shyamalanian twist? No, I completely forgot what I was going to say because you went there. Even though, trying to construct this in my head, it's not the way I want to say it, but let's just try it anyway. This is a group of people, let's call them a group that want certain things, and they want to be treated a certain way because they deserve it. And that same humanity, that same I don't know, understanding, whatever it is that they want to be like, again, like, why can't you let me say these horrible things or whatever? Like, I just want to say the N-word and not have people get up in my face about it. Like, see how you want people to give you a certain amount of leeway. Like, why can't you understand that about everybody else in the world who is just like, hey, I'm a black person and I would like you not to treat me like pure garbage. Hey, I am somebody who is going to get vaccinated against a thing that is very real, and I would like you not to treat me like garbage. Even though these are people that treat other people like garbage, I still want to live in a world where even terrible people treat other people well, and good people still treat terrible people well. Like, again, when this idiot does go to the hospital to get himself checked out for what is probably because of COVID symptoms, or just because, hey, you clearly don't eat well. You're a very, very sickly looking old man. But thankfully still, you get to live in a world where even though you're against everything at the hospital this year, you still get treated like everybody else at the hospital. You're going to take the time to say mean things to the hospital workers, and they're going to still treat you like a person who deserves to be treated like a person, even though you don't. And I want to live in that world where no matter how frustrating everyone is, wherever I go, I still want to treat all the people as if maybe they will have a growth arc to their story where, I don't know why I can't think of any examples right now. Hey, here's a terrible example. Velociraptors in Jurassic Park movies. The new movies are garbage, and they're wrong. But if we can live in a world where so many people are like, yay, I like the heroic Velociraptor. Well, I think it's a stupid thing and makes no sense. But there you go, like everybody has an arc. The Terminator was the movie monster, and he became the hero. Not only that, that weird maniac who played that maniac became a voice of reason on the internet. Hey guys, it's me, the guy who used to, just be a tough guy that lied, didn't take steroids and taught people to, take their vitamins and exercise and blah blah blah. Now I'm saying, hey, let's be safe out there. Hey, Trump is a maniac. Like, it's not that hard to... We live in Canada. He was so concerned about Joe Biden. So many Joe Biden... Look, Joe Biden almost completely can't affect your life. Oh, these lo-fi beats, they're just not chill enough. Every battery-powered thing is going dead over here. So yeah, at the end of the day, I felt better about buying these jerks some donuts, and here you go. They took them with them, because I said, here you go, and they were so happy. So happy, so grateful. And it's just like, you don't even realize that you also got yourself a free screwdriver out of this, because I don't think you realized you stole it. Big old jug of water. Let me check my notes. There's got to be a fun story here. There's got to be a fun story. Let's go with good deeds. Let's talk about some good deeds for the week. So, to me again, not the drawing screen. All right, sorry. What's on this page? More of the same. All right, let's draw a different Ripley pose at least. Let's change some of this up. Excuse me. So, I thought this was fun. I was at the corner store one day, and in front of me was a lady trying to buy two bottles of Pepsi. That is the wrong. Just go to the regular Lesu. I think I told this last time. Thanks, Lilith Nadia. Get a good sleep. Everybody get a good sleep. Anyway, like I said, I think I told this last week, but last week's stream was mostly just a test, and it was just me and Miles hanging out. And I can't remember which stories that I told. But yeah, I went to the store, and in front of me this lady was trying to buy 2 bottles of Pepsi, and then she was just like, "Oh geez, like sorry." She's like, I must have left my wallet at home." And she's like, "I'm sorry," and then she just goes to leave. She turns, she like gets as far as the door, and I was like, "Oh, hold on a second." I was like, "Are you just getting those 2 bottles of Pepsi?" She's like, "What?" I was like, "Are you just getting those 2 bottles of Pepsi?" And yes, I told this to Miles. And she was like, "What?" "Yeah." And I was like, "Take your 2 bottles of Pepsi with you, and And I just told the guy, I was like, yeah, just bring that in with my stuff here with my junk food. Um, and he did, and that made me feel once again great for several days. Like it was something I could easily afford in the moment, so it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I don't know if that person was a terrible person or not, or a good person, and I'm not gonna take the time to interview them and go like, hey, excuse me, let me ask you a few questions. Do you deserve me to be nice to you? Because the other thing that people complained about, the people in my house, the people on the internet, is all these people like out there like just getting free money. And I was just like, yeah, well, technically, two of these three people in my house right now definitely don't deserve a job. So what they are getting is free money. Somebody is technically doing a good deed to allow these idiots to do a job that they can't do. And the reason you're doing something is, again, because people are overlooking how much of a piece of trash you are. And, I'm sure that's happened 1,000 times in my life where somebody thought I was complete trash, but they still treated me like a person because I am. Because I am. And fully lost my train of thought because I was trying to think, hey, am I making this arm too big? And no, it's fine. It's fine. Who cares? But let's change the eyebrows a bit. We're just cheating. This is how we're doing comic books now. If NFTs are worth all the money, then I can copy and paste. Because if NFTs are crazy, then, are you being censored? That depends. Are you writing swears? Because most of the swears are censored. The other thing, yeah, getting a Pepsi for no reason other than people deserve to be nice to every once in a while. And yeah, because I was rearranging things, I was packing all my stuff away for the window installation. I was also somewhat in the mood to get rid of things, to clean some stuff out. And I have a handful of Lego sets that I have yet to put together. Most of them from my brother, and for the most part, I do want to put them together. But one of them was just like, this one is just kind of in the way, and other than maybe just opening it up and throwing the pieces in with my other, the little few Legos that I have, I don't really care to actually put this set together. Some of the parts could be useful to do things, but a kid could enjoy this much more. I should give it away to somebody that will just definitely enjoy it more than I will, because I do still have some even better Lego sets that my brother has given to me that I'll probably put together and time-lapse sometime soon. So on my way into the building one day, dude that lives upstairs, super nice guy, see him all the time, and he's just always nice. He doesn't know my name, I don't quite know his name, and I like it that way. He's coming in the building with his kid, and I was just like, oh hey, is that little guy yours, or is that your little guy? Because that's the way I talk. And he was like, oh yeah, one of them. Just like, oh, that. I mean, not that I didn't already know that, but just like, oh yeah, that sucks, because one is too many for me, and several is crazy. as they're going up the stairs, and I establish it is your kid. Not that it really mattered, but mostly just like, is this kid gonna be here for any amount of time? And it's your job to entertain him, I guess. So it's just like, hey, like, does he or do you? And try to ask him and the kid at the same time. Because I'm like, I don't want to talk to your kid, but I do want this answer. I was just like, does he like Spider-Man and or Legos? And he was like, yeah, he loves Spider-Man and Legos. Like, we're literally on our way to go watch Spider-Man right now. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, wait on the stairs here for a minute. Or / maybe follow me. I don't know. I don't really care if you follow me to my apartment. But that seems to never work out well when I allow somebody from my building to interact with me beyond the doorstep. But, and I'm like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Give me a second here. I've got some Lego for you. So I gave him this like Spider-Man car Lego thing, and he was like, "Oh, that's great." And I genuinely, immediately, forgot. Like, immediately, just like, there it goes, because like I'm already moving a bunch of stuff around, trying to clear some things out, and fully forgot that I just gave this random person a Lego set. I'm sure it was probably like, like a $30 Lego set or something like that. Like, definitely not garbage. Kid, excited. Dad, clearly like happy and excited. Like, that's great. Like, thank the man. Like, no, thanks. Like, no problem. Whatever. See him again not the next day, maybe 2 or 3 days later. And, he's like talking to some other guy. And that guy is, he's just like, hey, like, this guy here, like, he's my neighbor. This guy's my neighbor. It's just like, yeah, he's like, oh, he loved it. Like, putting together Lego stuff. Like, he thought it was great. And I'm literally just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, Lego? Oh, yeah, I just gave you a set of Lego to your kid or whatever. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And it was like whatchamacallit, I want to say time released goodness, or a time released deed, where it's like, yeah, in the moment I felt good about it, but genuinely I was busy and kind of didn't really care. Just like, here you go. Sometimes when I do nice things, I don't care. And but then you get these extra little, notes of reminders that, like, oh yeah, my name is Earl. When you do good things happen. It was just like, this is 3 or 4 days later, and all of a sudden just like, hey, by the way, you're awesome, thanks. This guy over here, he's awesome, he did a nice thing. Instead of, hey, that's the guy who's mean, or don't talk to that guy, or let's avoid that guy. And it's just like, random strangers wave to me and say nice things to me, because sometimes I just do or say nice things, and people are not used to that. Like, people are so not used to that. And that shouldn't be the norm. It shouldn't be the Cliff. It shouldn't be the Sam. Exactly. It was just like, the society, CTK, makes it hard to just be like, hey, here's some free stuff, because it's just like, whoa, what's this? Like, this is definitely poison. Like, nope, just trying to be a nice person. Like, you can't just be a nice person. If anybody's nice to me, I'm just like, yeah, right. I'm out of here. You're gonna put me in a van and, take my organs away. I need those. I need all of them, all the time. So, because of that, I also don't trust anybody. But if somebody seems to need help, I usually have to try. Like I told you that one time, that lady stopped me, like, do you have a cell phone? Does it have a flashlight? I need to find this thing. Like, nope, like, you just have to follow me down the road a while. Like, no. This is like, so obviously a trap. And I'm sure it's not. But sadly, you don't get any kind of help today, lady. Because situations like this usually lead to somebody getting murdered. And my final good deed, what's I feel like I had some other ones. Oh yeah, this one is not even a good deed. It's written down weird. I was at the grocery store. Everything in my life takes place at the grocery store. I don't go anywhere else. The world is over. And I can't even handle the grocery store. But I went in my car, which I don't normally do, if I'm getting groceries or getting some things, and I used a cart. And I took that cart from my car back to the cart corral. Where the carts go. Where the carts go. More copy paste. No time will we waste. Because that's the point of this book. So, I go to take the cart back because that's a thing that I do. People who don't take the carts back are the, people that don't take care of other people in their life. They're the ones that are like, I'm not going to wear a mask to save this dumb old lady. I'm going to throw a bag of garlic at her instead and tell her she's worthless or whatever. Because, I don't know. I don't know why. People are garbage. Oh, I forgot to fill this back in. So whatever. I'm bringing my cart back like I always do. On the way to bringing my cart back, there is another cart. Oh, and what did you do with that other cart? Did you kick it? Did you push it out into the parking lot and watch it bounce off a car? Because, man, that's fun, right? It's so much fun. It's just like, ooh, watch the chaos unfold. Why so serious? Watch out for this cart. It's barely my fault. Like, mostly it's the wind. I already have this cart, so this can't be my cart, right? It's wreak a little havoc. So, I grab a second cart, interlock them, transform them together into one Voltron supercart, and I'm bringing it back to the cart corral. There's a guy, literally, like, I don't know, 3 feet, 2 feet from the cart corral. He could easily just go, and the slightest momentum will put the cart back in that corral. And he doesn't. He's looking at me. He's looking at me in a way that makes me think that I'm supposed to respond. I have an answer for him. I don't know. I mean, I know, like, somewhere in my head, some part is saying, this guy thinks you work here, and he's waiting for you to take his cart the rest of the way. Was it me? Was it me saying it? Was I, like, in your head going, excuse me, I don't know if you realize this, but you work for this guy now, and he's just waiting for you to take that cart, because who else would have 2 carts except somebody who works here? Why would anybody in their right mind bring back more than 1 cart to the cart corral? Nobody's shopping with 2 carts, so nobody's going to go pick up a rogue cart that's just floating around in space. Nobody does that. Nobody does that in the history of anything. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. I bring back way more than 1 cart all the time. Some of it's obsessive. Some of it's just the anxiety that knowing, hey, this could just veer and hit somebody. It could cause another car to go off. Like, oh, I'm swerving away from this now, and then hit an old lady or a kid or somebody who's not racist. Oh god, no. I mean, I might have had gloves on. I don't know how cold it was. But yeah, no, I've always got my backpack, and I've always got hand sanitizer, so I'm still just, like, coating my hands in hand sanitizer, before and after I do everything. And that's the best that I could do. So he's looking at me. And I don't know how to describe what my thought process was, but in my head, I basically was just deciding, like, just continue to look like you're a person returning 2 carts, and, just smile and nod at this dude. So I just kind of like smiled and nodded at him as I pushed my carts into the thing. And he definitely gave me one of those looks of, why aren't you going to take my cart? And as I pushed them into the thing, I think he started to realize I've got a backpack on, and I'm clearly about to go back to this car that's 4 feet away with the door open, and that definitely it broke his brain a little bit, because he just when you can see when somebody's just like boo, like they just kind of power down, because like why would this happen? As if like he's gonna go home and be like, hey wife, because that's what horrible people call their wives. Hey the wife. Let me tell you, I saw this guy at the grocery store, and he was bringing back 2 carts. Like, he went and picked up a cart. I saw him pick up a cart that wasn't his. And then I sat there like, when's he going to take my cart too? And he didn't. So I was like, what, he was just like, out of the kindness of his heart, he was bringing carts back? Like, yes, I was. That's a thing that people do. And genuinely, I can't count the amount of times people have basically, accused me of being a weirdo or a creep, and thankfully sometimes somebody else is there to go like, no, that's just what he's like. He's just doing something nice. He's not going to think about you ever again. The niceness is selfish. I'm doing it for me, to fill myself with goodness, not to project goodness onto other people. You have to make your own goodness inside yourself and around you. You got to create your own sphere of happiness. And it's difficult because there's so many spheres of darkness all around. But yeah, I think the last good deed I can think of was I ordered pizza one day, and I shouldn't have. I never should. I should always not order pizza. It ruins my night every single time. My body doesn't deal well with too much cheese, and I never just eat one slice. I always eat like the whole pizza. So, I order a pizza. The guy comes to the door with the pizza, and I've got a gift card that I got for a store that I am never going to go to, because it's a garbage store that sells garbage. And I'm not going to talk about how old that store is or how Navy-based that store is, but everything at that store lasts 19 minutes maximum, and it's not worth, even to get it for free with a gift card, it's not worth it. I'm not going to drive to a town that has one of those stores. Just not, to get something I don't want. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I could probably use that gift card online. I'm not even going to muster the wherewithal to bother, because I don't believe in this store anymore. Yeah, I bought a bunch of stuff there once. Wow, I just got so many shirts for such a small amount of money, and so many jeans. And like 2 weeks later, I was like, I gotta get some shirts and jeans, because they deteriorated into the wind. So part of this is just getting rid of something. I could have just threw it away, but I know that people do like this store. So, people like things that I don't like. That's the way the world goes. Window guy, you gotta let other people have their shit, and you can't be a jerk about it. Stop being racist, people. So, dude comes to the door, and I was like, oh, hey, wait a second. I don't have any cash or anything on me for tips or whatever. Plus, I already just tipped on the phone. Hopefully that goes to one of you that worked there. I also kind of hate the store that I ordered pizza from as well. But it has an app where I don't have to talk to people. So it's like, you won because I don't want to talk to people. So, I say, hey, before you go, do you ever shop at at that store, at that old store? I don't know why I care about not talking ill about somebody's, because people love that store. People love that store, and they're fine for loving it. yeah, just like yeah, if you want this, like I haven't used it, this amount of money is still on it. There you go. Like have a great day. Um, I've occasionally tried to give people stickers and or books that I've made, and they're just like, no, I'm an old lady. I don't want any of those things. Like that's fine. And this guy was like, oh, like no, actually, I also don't like that store, but my girlfriend or wife, whatever he said, like she'll probably like this. Like yeah, I was like awesome. Like now I've given him the ability to do a good deed. Hopefully, he doesn't try to scam his girlfriend or wife in some weird way. But it's just like, there you go. Like, giving has the potential to keep on giving in the same way that you're always warned about all the articles and memes, hate, and just vengeance or whatever just begets more hate and vengeance. If you're in the best part about not working with other people in an office space is I don't get infected with other people's bad manners. For example, window guy, racist, all the things, Trumpy guy, and his little cleaning sidekick, I don't think actually is a bad guy. I think that his little sidekick is just dumb enough that it's like whoever is of authority in my sphere of influence, I will be influenced into their sphere and I will become that thing. So when they say something like, yeah, I also suddenly agree with all of this conspiracy chicanery. And there's a lot of those people. There's like, you have to be careful what you say around them. Because, just like I said at the beginning, I used to call this guy Mark Camaro just enough that people were like, what do you mean his name isn't Camaro? Like, what do you mean? Of course his name isn't Camaro. That's insane. That's insane. But it's easy and fun to convince people of things sometimes. And, it's just a bunch of text. Now I don't know what I was talking about when those things were said since there's a delay, so I don't know. Anyway. What time is it? 7, 8, 9. This is still 2 hours. Alright, let's finish doing stuff to this page. And that will be done for the night. But yeah, so I felt good. I like to think that the giving keeps on going. He's going to give something to somebody else. 2 Pepsis, gift card, rogue shopping cart. Yeah, I specifically wrote in my notes, he looked at me like he was waiting for me to do it for him. Oh, that's a fun story. I'll save that one for next week because it's got multi-parts now. It's got multi-parts. People are nuts. Yeah, I told that one to Miles. That doesn't need to retelling. Alright, so this is just dumb. This is just a dumb thing of like, hey, we're all dumb sometimes. We all just do stupid things and we're stupid. And everything's weird. I don't quite remember. So, alright. Flipping through YouTubes. And it was one of those like weird, like, hey, did you hear about this crazy political thing or this person trying to convince somebody that their conspiracy is real? And I was just like, all right, I want to hear what their reasoning is to this thing. And as per usual, it was like, hey, somebody who claims like I'm anti-woke, and what that means, and what it means to be woke to this person. Like, so he's gonna he's gonna call into this call-in show, and he's gonna explain why wokeness is ridiculous and being anti-woke makes more sense. And in his description Why does it keep feeling like I'm drawing two different layers? I'm not. Therefore, is this two different colors? It is. There we go. Everything back to normal. So, just whatever. I didn't even go down a YouTube rabbit hole. It was just like, hey, what about this thing? Like, all right. And I watched one video, and it was fine. It was interesting, but it was like this British call-in show, and there was like this guy who was just like, you know, like, all right, like what are you saying though? What are you saying? It's like, please just give me one of these examples you say that there's a million examples of. Just give me one. And he's like, well, there's just so many. Like, think about this. Like, I've had to go on these courses where, like, trying to teach you how to be, like, like, be respectful to other people or whatever. Like, huh? And he's just like, and? Like, what do they make you do? And he's just like, well, you know, it's just the credit. It's like, it doesn't matter. The fact is, like, this guy's getting paid, like, so much, like, more money than I get paid to try and teach me about respect or whatever. He's like, so, but did the course make sense? Like, should you respect people in the workplace? It's like, well, no, like, there has to be certain levels of respect. You got to do this, but like the fact is, like, who's running these things? Like, who's running them? It's just like he's trying to drift into a conspiracy that just like he doesn't even have, and his definition of anti-woke is the same definition of being woke, where it's just like you got to be able to just say things, and then people can't just say whatever they want and do whatever, you know, like just because they're woke or whatever. And it's just like that's what being woke is recognizing that you can't just say whatever you want without consequences. People get affected by the things that you say and do. That's what being woke meant. And he just kept saying that exact same definition for being anti-woke, where it's like, I should be able to just say what I want, blah, blah, blah. Like, these people have to know that they can't be mad at me every time I say something. Like, you can't get mad at people every time they say their reasons, because their reasons are actually more valid than yours. Yours are just knee-jerk reactions. And these people are, you know, like, same as before. It's just like, you can't be calling, you know, you can't be shouting with the N-word and be like, what? You know, it's like, it affects people the same way when they say, hey, you can't say that word. And you're like, what? That's not fair. Like, no, it's the exact same level of fairness. You're just not willing to play fair. And, and whatever. So I watched that video, and it didn't really go anywhere. I'm sure there's a much bigger version of that show, and it's just a clip. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. It's some sort of British radio call-in show. You know, YouTube is always suggesting British things for me to watch. So then what? So then you watch the video and you went to bed and everything's fine? So the next day, maybe even just a few hours later, I watched the first video on my computer, and I watched and then I was watching YouTube on my TV, which, although it's the same account, it clearly suggests slightly different things each time, and or it just doesn't quite, you know, match up with what I was just watching, but it kind of does. And this is one of those ones where it's just like, wait, what's going on? Am I Mandela affecting over here? I don't even know what's happening, because it's the same background, same type of video titles. Hey, so-and-so tries to call in and explain why Trump is actually a great guy, or why he's not racist, or whatever. And it was just a bunch of things, but it was like a whole string of them. Like, do you want to watch this one? Do you want to watch that one? What about this one? And I'm just looking at them like, no, I don't want to watch any of those anymore. But I was like, wait a second. Is that the same guy? I only watched the one video, so I was like, I don't think I've completely committed it to memory, so he could, I guess this is what this guy could look like, but I'm positive it was different, but it's like, but whatever, who cares? Go on with my day. I don't feel like watching any more of these. I'm probably never going to watch any more of these. And I don't know, I just couldn't let go. It kept suggesting it again and again, and I was just like, it definitely isn't this guy. And then I looked at it more, beyond the title, beyond the picture, and the name said, and I wrote it down specifically, Nick Ferrari. Yeah, Nick Ferrari. And I'm just like, uh, hmm. Gas up the mystery machine, guys. We got a mystery to solve. I am 1,000% positive that guy's name wasn't Nick Ferrari because I would have only remembered his name being Nick Ferrari and not any of the other details about watching that video. I'm positive his name was like Brian? I'm pretty sure his name was just like Brian something. And it wasn't Brian Ferrari. Alright, like Nick Ferrari makes sense. His name wasn't Brian Ferrari. His name definitely wasn't Nick Ferrari. Could it have been? Am I losing my mind? And I just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. It's just like Nick Ferrari, Nick Ferrari, Nick Ferrari. It's like there has to be more. There has to be more people on this station or this channel. But it's just Nick Ferrari, Nick Ferrari. I'm just like, I'm getting more and more positive that it wasn't Nick Ferrari. Why can't you just give, nope. Why can't you just give Nick Ferrari a chance? I mean, he's out there, he's taking calls, he's talking about things, doing his best to get the bottom of stuff with Ferrari-like speed. And if the name is Nick, it's a cool name. I mean, we'll let a guy have a cool name. And I would love to let a guy have a cool name. So I'm like, this is like, no. I don't need to solve, it's not a mystery that needs solving. I don't care. Part of me, though, thinks there is another Skywalker out there, and I don't think he's a Ferrari Skywalker. And I want to forget about it. And I went to the channel, like not just scrolling. I went specifically to their channel, and it was just Nick Ferrari. And I'm like, I guess it was just Nick Ferrari, and I put a different face to it and a different name somehow, and I don't know. Maybe the caller's name was Brian, I guess. No way to really figure out what I had watched. And then, I don't know, I maybe get 2 seconds into watching some other random British TV show or whatever else I was watching. Game Grumps, play some stuff. And it hits me. History. It's not just an album by Michael Jackson. Is it an album by Michael Jackson? I don't know. But I'm like, oh yeah, YouTube has a history. So even though I'm on the TV, I don't have to get up and go to the computer. I could just check the YouTube history. I throw open the YouTube history and realize, oh, I've watched so many YouTubes since the last time I watched that video. So scroll. Like, this is how I'm spending my time. Fine to spend your time in a dumb way. After scrolling for what felt like an eternity, I get to the video that I had watched, and Vindication was his name-o. His name wasn't Vindication. His name was Robert Paulson? No, his name was James. I don't care or know what his last name was. His name was James, which is kind of a Brian type name. It's like just a regular real name. There's no Ferrari-ness to it. What's the point of that story? 0 point to that story at all. At all. Oh, you're telling me? That was the least pointed story. So, not pointed? Why? Why in a million years would you take the time to tell such a non-pointed story? It's such a waste of time. Because everything is too poignant. And it's nice to just every once in a while drift down a rabbit hole of obsolescence, of, non-stressful nothingness. It was a mystery, it was a problem to solve that didn't need solving, that didn't matter to even me, the only person that it was mattering to. But it was just one of those little side quests that you know, reminded me, again, just like in the doing just random deeds for people, just to feel like I'm Spider-Manning my way through life instead of, I don't know, shreddering. There's two different franchises, but I don't care. But it was just a little reminder that, hey, sometimes it's fun to do something that doesn't matter. And that thing, kind of, before the clocks went back and I started to feel somewhat human again, wanting to make things, it led to, like, I'm pretty sure the next day, I started smashing apart Skeletor and working on that stuff and working on this book. And it just, you know, sometimes you just need a weird thing to go, oh, by the way, side quest all you want, dog. Side quest all you want. And don't even be afraid to or feel bad about making these side quests, you know, your main quest. I picked up a handful more PlayStation 3 games for my old PlayStation 3. Spinning everywhere. And yeah, the game that I've been playing recently is Shadow of Mordor. I was talking to Miles about it. It's getting more and more glitchy the more I play it. But man, oh man, it's very much like if Grand Theft Auto took place in Mordor and you could just roam around murdering orcs and monsters. And it's great. Because before I was playing Wolfenstein for a minute and that got really depressing. Even though you're walking around shooting Nazis all over the place, it just still feels too much like a thing that's still too real in the world right now. And I'm like, I feel uncomfortable shooting humans in a video game during a situation that is, like, very similar. So I needed some monsters. And also was watching Game Grunts play Elden Ring. And you know what my main problem with Elden Ring is? Nobody cares? Nobody cares what you think about what everybody think there's no problems with Elden Ring for the most part. My problem with Elden Ring is that it's not called Elder Ring? Elden Ring? I hate that. Just the Elder Ring. The Elder Ring. Why isn't it the Elder Ring? The Elden Ring, it's just a word, it just for some reason. And again, it doesn't matter. Everybody gets to name anything whatever they want. That's why my books have usually the dumbest names available. But it's because it's what I wanted to call those things. Don't stab yourself in the eye with a painting brush. But anyway, watching Game Grunts play Elden Ring, and legitimately thinking like, oh, I wanna do some sword fighting. I wanna do some video game sword fighting, and I'm not gonna stress myself out about thinking I should be streaming this. I'm just going to play it, because like I told Miles, I should be putting little costumes and stuff on him here. I keep forgetting that I should. Let's go with a little bow tie for this one. Little bowler hat. Yeah. Zoop, zoop. And funnily enough, and I realize funnily is not a word, but it's a funny sounding word and I enjoy it. But oddly enough, when the Game Grumps were playing Shadow of Mordor, I was like, whoa, this game is too hard and complicated. No deal. I am never going to play this game, you crazies. And now that the PlayStation 3 is obsolete and ridiculous, I'm playing all of those games. I picked up Dark Souls 2, because that's you know what the Elden Ring is basically, is another Dark Souls game. Like, maybe I'll give that a test toast one of these days. But anyway, the thing that spurned that on was, you do stuff all day, you do stuff all week. And sometimes, no matter how much you do, you're still like, you know, you still need to unlock an achievement over here, right? Even though I'm constantly, doing what I think are cool things and what other people think are cool things. You go check out, Russo Draws on Instagram. He did a book called Yoga Bunny, and another one, Yoga Bunny Needs a Friend, about a bunny that does yoga and helps with anxiety or something. I haven't read it, but he likes my Instagram and said, "Hey, can I interview you for my blog?" And I said, "Yeah." So next month I'm gonna do that, and doing my Skeletor stuff, and my friend Cliff, that I used to work with, that I went to school with, that, I haven't really talked to in 1,000 years. Out of nowhere, he's just like, "Hey, loving the Skeletor stuff." Pretty much like, I'd like to get it, I've been working on my voice demo reel. I've been doing some voice work and stuff here and there. And I'm just like, I'd love to, add some of this Skeletor stuff. Like, if you want me to do any of the characters, like, I can try a voice or do whatever. And I'm just like, oh, awesome. Like, I would love to add, featuring Cliffy as a voice on this thing. Like, all right, I'm gonna think about this for sure. I for the most part just do something kind of random. It's just like what other action figures is Skeletor gonna hang out with? And I'm like, honestly, like, everything I own is jammed up in boxes and bins right now. So it's like, I can't even really picture who there is, but I'm like, Orko's definitely gonna show up. I've got an alien. He's got a working jaw, but mostly like things that don't have mouths or their mouths covered. That T-Rex Lego Tyrannosaur that I stop motioned on Instagram a little while ago. I grabbed a bunch of parts from another Spider-Man set that my brother gave me, and reconfigured him so he's even more mobile. And has more articulation. So I'm probably going to glue him together, which, yes, I realize that's illegal to do to your Legos, but I'll probably do that. And he'll show up and hang out with Skeletron at Skeletor's house. So yeah, like I said, every week I'm going to try to, spend most of my weekend probably making a Skeletor stop motion. It seems to kind of be like my Friday night jam now, and just the fact that Cliff likes it. I literally said to somebody today, like, "Oh my god!" I was like, not only like Cliff was not only asking about it, but he's like, he wants to be a part of it in some way. I'm just like, I was like, I did it. I'm cool now. I'm finally cool. And it's just. Those little victories, you gotta take any little compliment you can and use it to build yourself up. And again, I realize, every 12th Twitter post that I post is, making art sucks. Everybody hates you all the time, which they don't. But it is just that, like, I made something, and if you don't get a certain number of likes or comments or whatever within 12 seconds, you feel crazy. You feel like a failure because if somebody popular, somebody famous posts the thing, literally, within 12 seconds, Jennifer Aniston breaks the internet because, oh, Jennifer Aniston posted a picture. Oh, well, now a billion people just started following her and liking it at the same time. It's just like, huh, what does that feel like? And it feels the same as getting 15 likes, really. Like, it really does. At a certain point, you don't care anymore, / every time you get a message or requests or whatever, I'm just like, now I'm just deleting them because I'm too busy making the thing. I'm not actually here for the praise. I do it because I want to do it. I want to finish this book, and doing it on stream helps me to make sure I do some book working. Now, real quick before we go, that's another page. Did I just do 2 pages? Yeah, I did 2 pages. There we go. So I did other pages. One of these days, I will reveal specifically what this book is about, but without the words, so that, you know, it'll still be a surprise and people will be forced to buy the book. But let's go to... I think I made the right screens, did I? Okay, yeah. So let's go to me for a second, and I'll show you... so this is the Skeletor I was working on. It's a little dark, but he looks better with lighting. So you can see in the videos, I added some magnets to its feet. And then in Skeletor's house, I slid some sort of baking thing that's like just a sheet of metal. Pulled off the part that you're supposed to hold it with. And slid it underneath the paper between the foam core that the floor is made up of. So that he can like get planted down and sit in the chair pretty good. I got a bunch of little miniature wine bottles and whatnot from the Michael's store, and I painted them a bunch. And then, in an act of craziness, I had enough Skeletor heads where I'm like, all right, I can afford to smash some of these without having to spend all the money to buy more Skeletors. So I took, come on, there you go. So I took this top Skeletor head, and I posted pictures, and I chopped the jaw out very meticulously with a Dremel tool, dug out the jaw, dug out as much of the neck as I could so it would still attach to the socket. And then I took another Skeletor head, and I took genuinely like 3 days of staring at 4 different Skeletor heads on my desk, where I'm like, well, I can't destroy these 3, because if this doesn't work, I still need these 3 to be the heads, and I just swap them in and out to get a mouth open and mouth closed. But because the hood is different on the mouth closed than the mouth open, I really couldn't stand watching it pop so hard, and I just wanted that jaw to rotate. So I finally gave in one day. It was getting late at night, and I was watching Hacksmith on YouTube, and they were building a working bat light, because the bat lights don't work. You can't shine a light on the sky and project a shadow. You have to make like a projector-y shadow and a super light that, you know, would burn everything down. So they were making one of those, and it worked and was amazing. And it's just like, got myself somewhat inspired by these people doing something. I'm like, all right, let's turn on the Dremel and let's chop up and let's see if I can't carve a lower jaw. Several people from the internet world, excuse me, that I've worked with in the past, or slightly know, or don't even know at all, were like, hey, so how are you going to do that job? Might I suggest that you do like a resin mold or whatever? I'm like, I've never touched resin or molds of any kind, but yes, I have been thinking about it. One of the other ideas from Cliffy actually was, just sculpting it or whatever. I was like, but to get it perfect, at that time I did have a piece of Super Sculpey on the table where I had pushed Skeletor's head gently into the clay and pulled it out, and my plan was to bake that, and then I could jam some other clay in there, and then it would have a nice jaw shape, so I wouldn't have to specifically try to sculpt something that small, because I'm not a sculptor. I'm not good at it. I find it incredibly frustrating. And I hemmed and hawed over that for the longest time. I'm like, it's not going to work, and if it does, I just don't trust myself. I really want to still use the parts from the Origins Skeletor figure. I don't I kind of just don't want homemade parts on this. I want them to still be made of those parts, even though I'm smashing them in pieces. So this is what happened to the. Come on, you can focus on that. Do it. There you go. So if there was more light, chopped out, just went at it to get his bottom jaw off, because I'm like, well, there's no coming back from this. And somehow it just mutilated his face like completely. Like just one of his eyes is just a bunch of the purple from inside is just oozing out of it. And for some reason I can't bring myself to throw it out. Like I got to do something with it. I don't know if I'll put it in some sort of jar type of situation and mount it in Skeletor's house somehow. But I feel like I should do something with it, even though I should definitely just throw it in the garbage. But yeah, that was the main thing where I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. Like, I'll just destroy this. This is fine. And then the jaw more or less came out. Like the bottom jaw, I got it out of there pretty good. There's a little more teeth on the right side than there was on the left side. And there's a little extra bit of plastic on the top jaw that I still need to go in and try to shave that down a bit. And I mean, he looks a little bit textury, a little bit rough, but on camera I was surprised. It wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. I was like, that actually just looks, you know, like just enough weathering that I don't regret this. And I was pretty impressed with myself. And I think yeah, I do have this. So let me see. I can't remember how my screens are set up. So let's go to the tablet screen. Tablet screen? Tablet screen? Tablet screen. That was weird. All right. Can almost full screen this. So this is this week's Skeletor's house. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, please do. I'm very happy some more people have. I'm only, a few more subscriptions away to actually being able to name my YouTube channel MrCurtoons instead of a string of text. Hey, Pretzel Rocks, chill out for a minute and let's see what I made. I don't know how loud it's gonna be. Might be too loud. Might not be loud enough.
Enter Artie Doty. A message. Wrong number. Delete message. I said message delete. Record new message. Dear He-Man, I get knocked down, but I get up again, and you're never going to keep me down. I got knocked down, and I'm pissing on your grave someday. Remember that song?
Yeah, I don't know what. If I click here. There we go. I don't know why. But that will basically be the theme of Skeletor's house, is somebody will stop by. It will be a wacky situation where Skeletor is for the most part belligerent and mean, and the other character is question mark. Anything and everything will happen. I've got a good handful of, more than a handful of action figures. I've got a bunch of He-Man figures. I spent way too much of the Streamlabs stream on Friday talking about all the He-Man figures that I have. But I enjoyed it, and I managed to not talk about it here. Instead, I talked about horrible racists ruining 2 of my days. But yeah, yesterday was a nightmare, and I just went to sleep with a headache and hated everything. And today was a nightmare, and doing a stream helped alleviate the nightmare niche of it all. I am still exhausted because, like I said, I slept on the couch because it was too windy inside my apartment yesterday to sleep in my bedroom, and I still need to get a decent sleep. And it's not Friday, even though my brain is 100% convinced that after the last 2 days, that has definitely been at least 4 days. So, wow. Oh, thankfully, you can finally just go to bed whenever you want and then sleep most of the day Saturday and just get up and then play with your Skeletor again. But it's not. So yeah, I semi got some of the things back in order. I still definitely need to disassemble everything on my desk again and reassemble it because the wires are literally fully intertangled now. And literally 2 minutes before the stream, I'm just like, oh, there's no light on my mixer where the sound goes in from my little shotgun microphone here. All the plugs seem to be plugged in. How does my mixer get power? It's been so long since I've moved it or changed it. It turns out that it's USB powered, and it's plugged into the back of my computer, and I did not realize that. So yeah, finding that cord took forever, and then I narrowly started at exactly 7 o'clock, I think. But yeah, it's a mess here. There's still just a pile of stuff in the living room. The storage closet is still a mess. None of my art supplies are here. Again, there's a bunch of cords on the shelf. The shelves out there. But whatever. Things will be reorganized. Instead of this background being specifically for, hey, it's like a show, it's the show background, I'm going to move a different piece of furniture in here, and this will become the area where I make Skeletors, because I just do it on the coffee table now, and the other option is in the storage closet, and it's just not conducive to, making stuff, jamming yourself in a storage closet. So I'm definitely going to rearrange this room a little bit and make it more focused on being just a little studio space where I make things, and then yeah, definitely one of these days, just buy a house and stop dealing with these people. Be my own landlord, and yeah, because I'm tired. I'm so tired of it. So very, very tired. But I mean, I don't know. It's a good price, and sometimes there's not enough heat. Sometimes there's not enough cold. And you take the bad, and there you got the facts of life. The facts of life. I've droned on for quite some time now. Oh, quite some time indeed. I mean, several hours worth of droning on. You barely, even with the music, like on your Streamlabs stream, you were like, hey, let me just vibe for a bit to this music and draw. But this time, you just did not stop. I mean, you did not stop at all. I mean, you definitely should have stopped a few times. Oh, yeah. Most of that stuff I shouldn't have talked about and was just things that I needed to scream out into the world. And I don't want to do that. I really, you see a bunch of madness in the world, and it's hard not to scream at people, but I don't. And there's usually no need to. And again, if Will Smith has taught us anything, it usually is, hey, be the best person you can be, learn the things you don't know, and this and this and that. And sometimes, you have some issues, and they build up and they build up. And now, whether he thinks he was right or wrong, or whether the world thinks he was right or wrong, he still has to deal with the fact that at a very public event, he just hauled off and slapped a person like it was the 1920s. And amazingly, that person was like, that was amazing. Will Smith just hit me. I'm going to keep going on with the show. And that's what some people got to keep going on with the show, and some people have to make sure that they don't fly off and hit somebody, whether they deserve it or not. Like I said, the people that were in my house today, they deserve to be screamed at. They deserve for me to try and get them fired for their job. They deserve so many bad things to happen to them. They tried almost to actively allow themselves to fall off a roof, and as much as I felt like they deserved it, I didn't want that to happen. At the end of the day, I still rathered buy them some donuts than tell them they are garbage people. Somewhere deep down, they know that they're angry, and they're angry because of what they think about all the time. And if what you think about all the time is hating everybody because they're trying to be happy, then maybe you should try to be happy instead of being jealous of other people trying to be happy. It's a scary, weird thing to think about, but you know, at the end of a war, if you've made the call to, hey, go over there and murder those people, or if you're the one that's like, I'm gonna murder these people until I own this land, you have to accept, you have to deal with the fact that you have to shut down and become a stone of hatred of the world, because eventually somebody's gonna go, hey, all of my family used to live here. Oh, did they sell you the land? No, I murdered them and I took it. Oh yeah, that's why I'm gonna hate you forever. Come on, it was a long time ago. No matter how long it was, if you can't accept that a long time ago it was wrong, and today it was wrong, and feel bad about it, and do your best to make the world a better place, then you're just encouraging more people to go, oh, well, that guy got what he wanted through violence or through whatever. So that's what I learned. That's what I'm gonna do. And Window Guy specifically brought that up. That is like, well, now people in court, you know, when they do haul off and slap their wife or slap somebody, they can be like, well, it was legal for Will Smith to do it on TV in front of all the rich people, so why can't I do it? Yeah, exactly. Why can't I do it? Why can't I just haul off and slap you? Why, when you go to sleep, I cannot encourage you to die in your sleep and then eat those sweet, sweet eyes? Why can't I get some sweet eyeball meat? I just want to eat eyeballs. It's not a big request. You've got two. Give me one eyeball. And yes, people can see your hands doing your hand talking even though you are not talking, because of how close the camera is and because you put the real background in here instead of fake background like you normally do. Stop giving away all of the secrets. Anyway, that's all the secrets that I know about life. Revenge doesn't make you feel better. That's simple. Oh, man. And that's where I got that jam from. The jam that is, this is my jam, not spreadable jam, was, I forget who, like somebody else was always bringing something somewhere, and I'm like, I want to be like that person. Everybody loves when somebody brings something to a party or just to a gathering, and I want donuts as well. I'm willing to share my want for donuts with whoever else is there. And if somebody doesn't want the donuts, I am fine with that as well. I'm not going to be like, you don't want donuts? I just want donuts. It's fine. It's cool. It's super, super cool. I think it was because of Matt and the cheeseburgers. When Matt would bring a bag of cheeseburgers, I'm like, I want to do that, but with donuts. Anyway. Next time you want to punch somebody in the face, either buy a donut for yourself and be like, hey, this is literally, my hand hurts way less than punching somebody in the face if I eat this donut, or whatever your fun food is. And or if that person's still sitting there, hey, bought you a cake. It says cool as ice on it. I got them to put icing on it, and there you go. And that's how it is. Anyway, you're not going to be a good human. Shut up. Just shut up about it. Do your hate in silence. That's what I try to do when I'm full of hate. I try to do it quietly. Because there's still, as good as I try to be, part of that reason is to make up for the hours of the day where I see some jerk face being a jerk face, and I'm like, oh, jerk face. If I had mind powers, if I could ignite you with my eyes, then I would, and I'd feel real bad about that. Oh, jeez. It's a good thing people don't have powers, because they would abuse them. Everybody watch Invincible and/or read Invincible. I gotta get my hands on the Invincible books and reread those. Should not have traded those in to get more comics back in the day, because they're real good. Definitely rereadable, I think. You're still talking? You said this was over. This is 45 minutes after you said that was a good show. We're done here. We're done here? Yeah, I have a problem. I have a problem. But yeah, that is all. I've still got some website updating to do. Still got some other stream stuff updating to do. Oh, and tomorrow, if everything goes to plan, do a podcast here, probably around the same time. Me and Tara will do some improvisational nonsense, and I can almost guarantee some of it will be one of us pretending to be the window people and the other person pretending to be me or just a regular person, because that's the other point of improv is, hey, instead of having these fights in real life, let's go have a pretend version and try to make it fun and silly. And even when it gets serious, it's still fun and silly because it's not real. Even if it's based on real things, the people within the improv know that I'm not actually calling you a garbage monster. I'm calling the character a garbage monster, and then you move on with your life. And the points are meaningless. It's just fun. It's just fun. And that is all. That is all. That is all. Really ending it this time. I forgot to update the credits too. I'll have to do that. But yeah, I've been MrCurtoons. Follow me on Instagram for the people in the outskirts there that haven't been chatting along, but I can see your numbers. I know you're watching. Instagram is where most of the updates happen, and Twitter. Technically, there's a Facebook page for this. There's a MrCurtoons Facebook page. I genuinely try to avoid Facebook like the plague that it is. So yeah, most of the stuff there is auto-posted there so that my mom can see that I do things. But if that's where you want to watch, that's where Amanda watches the show. But yeah, for any real art updates, drawings, whatever, Instagram and Twitter are the place. And Twitter is also just a cesspool as well. Don't read anybody else's tweets except for mine and Ben's and Guy Montgomery. He's pretty funny. He's a New Zealand comedian. I don't know. Whatever his tweets pop up, it brightens my day. They're very just harmlessly silly, and I like it. And I like it. And actually, yeah, my hair has finally reached that perfect length where it looks just right. And then the sides are still doing that thing where they start to grow out. So, constant battle. Hair is a battlefield. Ripley!
Meow, 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 meow.
Yep, now's the time. Press the credits. We're done. Thanks. Miles and CDK, Pat and Jenny, whoever else, if there's any.